So here we have discussed examples like this already, using escape characters or escape sequences in strings. Over here, using quotation marks and inserting backslashes in strings. So this is all already covered. The new operator. Let me give you a few examples with strings. So again, I will just go ahead and reduce this code to blank main method, and I'll create string name. I will not initialize it with anything, just to show you that you can create a string reference and not initialize it with anything. No objects are created. The only thing is created here is a small object reference, which is really like the size of an integer, and it contains some kind of unknown value there, so it's not usable, but it's ready to accept some sort of an object reference. So we have, let's use Bob as a name, and let's do it twice, just like this, and then we can replace it the third time with the new name, Alice. Okay, so let's talk about what happens here. Java compiler, of course, will create an object that encapsulates this text and gives this name the location of this object, and this name is now a valid string reference. The second time, the compiler may be able to realize that this exact string is already allocated, so there may be no reason to recreate this object. So it's very possible that this second time we assign our object the same name, it will reuse the same object reference. Basically, it will not create a new object. It will not waste any time creating this object. Of course, if we change the name, so the content of the name changes, so this is brand new string, and now the name will be pointing to this brand new object. Okay, so just the very basic behavior, and this is how you would expect the compiler would compile this code. However, there is a way to say new string, and you see that string is an object, and the new operator in Java is an operator that asks the compiler to create a new object. It has to follow the data type, in our case it's a string, and it also takes the parameter right here in this object construction process, and obviously it will populate this string with this content. So when this new operator is used, the first time we allocate this string, right, so it will contain this text, and the reference will be pointing here. The second time, the new operator will actually force the compiler, regardless of the fact that this is the same string literal, it will force it to create brand new object with this content, which is pretty much the same right here, new object, and will point our reference to this new object. And so this object apparently now can be destroyed because it's no longer in use. So now the new object is used. Okay, so this is the difference between just using plain string and the new operator with strings. So most of the time there is no need for you to do something like this. Pretty much regardless of this little trick of the reallocation of the object, logically these two statements right here from the logical perspective are exactly the same. They will have our object reference pointing to a string. this case will be exactly the same. So this is your example of a new operator used with strings. So the syntax to create a new object of any kind would require the data type, like some kind of class name right here, with some arguments like we had the string right here. And another very useful and friendly object is a scanner. So the scanner is capable of accepting input from the keyboard when we combine it with the standard input stream like this. So let's you know, we can try this right here. For instance, we can say that we would like to have this scanner, and just like we have system out, system in is a standard input stream, and by default it's attached to the keyboard. And the scanner, unlike string, does not come from Java language package, so you have to import it in order to be able to start using scanner, although it comes from Java library. What we normally do is right-click here inside NetBeans and say fix imports. It means that the scanner has to be imported from the library. When we talk about packages, we will talk a little bit more about import statements. Anyway, scanner is a class which defines the data type of a useful object, which allows us to get input, and it's located inside the utility package inside the Java API. So now that we have the scanner, we can have name equals scanner, right here, scanner, and it has methods to get input from the keyboard. I'll try this next line. You see that these methods return strings. So we'll say system.out and print line. So we create some kind of prompt right here, so we can say enter your name. Okay, so this will be the prompt, and we'll be using scanner next line to get this name from the user. So let's run this, enter your name, so we can type Joe. Okay, so the name will be entered, and this way you can see that in this example, first we create a string reference, and if I want to illustrate everything that happens here, this string reference contains a known bit pattern internally, this reference, and it's a question mark, which means it's uninitialized. In fact, it's a dangerous thing to have. We don't know what it does. To make it, to normalize its content, we create a string. So we create this string, then we already discussed that here we force compiler to create brand new string right here. So these are all objects, and name is now pointing to these. Then we create brand new object because it's new content for our string. Then we create a scanner. So this is object reference to the scanner. The new operator allocates memory for the scanner object, whatever it contains internally, and the new operator invokes its constructor, which uses system input. So somewhere there is a system input object right here, and the scanner will remember its location, so they will work together to give us keyboard input. And this reference right here, this scanner reference, is pointing to the scanner that we created here. So this scanner is this object that we create over here. So then we print enter your name, and we ask, so we go to our scanner one more time, and we ask the scanner to provide the next line. Of course, there's a keyboard somewhere here, right, which can be used by the user in front of the keyboard. So we type it, and eventually system input gets all this input from the keyboard. The scanner is controlling this input. It gets the characters that we printed. So somewhere in this input stream there is a memory buffer that contains text Joe, because that's what I typed. Okay, so the scanner will be able to, like part of this next line, will be able to find this text, and it has to allocate a string for us, because next line supposed to create brand new string and return back a string, because name is a string reference. So the scanner will construct internally a new string object for us, copy this content over here, so this will contain the input Joe right there, and eventually when the next line returns back, our name reference will be pointing to this brand new string. So this is how many string objects we are using in this example. First, second, third, and the fourth one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 unique objects. Besides this, we also create a scanner, which is a good friendly object that allows us to get input from the keyboard, and internally it's using already existing object system input.